If our FHIR service is going to be HIPAA compliant, we're going to need to log our requests and responses. And API management can definitely help out with this task. Kong offers a number of plugins that work with a variety of logging services. So let's take a look here. Go ahead and add a plugin. Under logging, you can see we have a lot of different options, including logging to our own file system. And that may be okay in certain situations, but in other situations, you may want to use an external service, potentially providing you with the ability to do searching and analysis of those logs. And that's what I'm going to show you here. We'll establish an HTTP log with a service called Logee. And the endpoint I just happened to paste in here, and we'll add this plugin, and we're good to go. Now we would like to test this, and the easiest way again is with Postman. What we should do here to generate a sufficient number of requests that we could really understand how logging analytics might help is to use the Postman Runner, which can run collections for us. And so I'll fire that up here, and it'll take a few seconds, and we'll go to our FHIR request. And as you saw in the demo I just did earlier, we could easily create requests that will give us a 200 code. For example, those that have the correct admin API key, and those that will get an unauthorized response because they're, for example, they're in the users group and they don't have the right permissions. So why don't we do this? We're going to maybe generate 100 iterations of those two requests, and you're going to see they're equally distributed between forbidden requests, status code 403, and a admin API key that's present. They get a 200 response. And the Postman collection runner could generate these pretty quickly. We're almost done. And at this point, we could take a look at that in Loggly. So I'll close this. And let's head over to the Loggly website. We'll need to log into our account. They have a free account for a couple weeks. That's what I'm using here. But then you could get a paid account if you want. We'll log into our Logee account. I'm just using the free trial here. And now you can see that it's logging our request from Kong, and you can see the status codes for each of the requests, the 403 being access denied code. And we could also do analytics on this. We could see the number of requests coming in, evenly split between the 200 and 403 responses. But this is a great way in which you can manage your logging using a service. Again, you could do this on your local machine. And now I'd like to show you the last piece of deploying a production server, which is monitoring. When it's time to put your FHIR server into production, it would be very helpful to have operational monitoring. Kong can help in this area as well. We could add a global plugin that can capture data directly from Kong on the FHIR server's performance. So let's go ahead and add a global plugin. And we're going to look at this, in this case, we're going to look at analytics and monitoring. One tool that's very helpful here is a plugin called Prometheus. This plugin will tie directly into the Kong gateway and will make metric data available to Grafana, an open source visualization tool. After we've configured Prometheus, we could log into Grafana. Here I have this working locally on my machine. Just going to type in my credentials, admin, and password. There is a little bit of configuration needed to set up Grafana to work with Prometheus, but it's fairly simple since Kong has developed an official dashboard that has a code that you can enter into the system and it will configure your dashboard for you. Now that we've selected a dashboard, we could see operational metrics. Here I'm going to select a time band that's a little lower so we could see it more clearly. We could see the total requests per second coming into the server. We could see the request based on the route. In this case, we only have one route, so you only see the request coming into the main route. And we could also see then too the different requests and their status codes. So we could see how many of the requests were denied at any given point because they're not authorized, and how many were authorized. We could also look at Kong's performance too, and we could see how long it takes for Kong to process different requests, and from the 90th to the 99th percentile, we could get an idea of how long these requests are taking, how long they're taking per service if we had multiple services, and how much they're taking per route. And we could also see the amount of bandwidth we're using. All these are useful for making sure our service is operational. There's a lot more you could do, and there's plenty to explore, but I think that gives you an idea of how useful Prometheus and Grafana would be in a production server setting.